All right, it is TCR time. You're looking at the Renault of James Moffat. James now in the car, ready to go, and we are not far away. Abby Jelmy, Brad Hodge. This is the highlight of the day. These guys look good.
It is good. It is exciting. It's also that time we put everyone on the spot. Hodgie, who's your tip? Who do you think's going to take it out?
Well, I think the young gun Jay Hansen might be up there. He was on pace yesterday, but also keep an eye out for Chaz as well. I reckon he had some tyres up his sleeve yesterday in the Audi RS3.
Yeah, now, Abby, you've had a spin with James Moffat yesterday. Who are you tipping today?
I know this is actually quite awkward because Moff was so kind to take me on
He's in the car, he can hear you.
I know, but I actually think that Caruso, we spoke to Michael this morning and he seems quite confident, so I'm already flipping around. Can I just have both? Does it work that way?
If he only picked Caruso just because his car's sitting there?
It's convenient. I just want to keep everyone happy.
And I'm going to go with Lee Holdsworth. I think him in the Alfa Romeo is the man to beat at the moment, so we'll soon find out. Let's go to Chris Stubbs.
I've got Luke King, one of our rookies here this weekend. Luke, how's it feeling in here?
Beautiful to be back racing, mate. We missed out on the whole of 2020, so, you know, we're sitting here in this beautiful number 2 Mautai Audi RS3. Chaz Mossad is our teammate. What more could you ask for?
Mate, go well.
And I'm here with Ben Bargwanna, Jason Bargwanna's son. And Ben, I noticed you had your earphones on before. Can you tell us, is that the young generation strategy to get one up on your old man?
Yeah, well, I've got to do everything I can. He's got a bit of experience, so just trying to get in the right mindset so I can beat him.
Have a great time out there.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, it's time to go. We've been counting down to this, so let's get to the action. Let's head upstairs, join our commentators for the Super Cheap Auto TCR qualifying.
Barretts, thank you, and to Abby and Brad there. I think, Matt Nolte, the takeaway from those three guys was this is anyone's chance here at pole position, isn't it? We're fighting for the Astron Tech pole position, the very first one for season 2021 in the Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series. What a lineup. There are young guns like Jordan Cox. We'll tell you more about some of these emerging stars, and they're joined in a quality grid here by some very experienced campaigners.
Rusty, 11 rookies in this field. More than 50% here today. Dylan O'Keefe, the man with a lot of experience. He went across to Europe last year, one of the few drivers to get out of Australia and go racing. Chaz Mostard's in the field as well here in one of the Melbourne Performance Centre Audis there with his teammate Luke King alongside him. Talent pool as deep as you like. We haven't touched the bottom of that right now. A tweak to qualifying this year, which we go from the standard 20-minute qualifying to a 15-minute session where the top 10 will advance at the end of that, which is a tweak to this year's TCR Australia qualifying series, but still 2 points up for grabs.
Worth remembering, exactly right, that we are playing for points here, even though it's qualifying. That will set the grid for the opening of 3 races for the weekend, which will come your way later today. And it's a progressive formula in TCR. So where you finish race 1 is how you start race 2, and so the weekend continues. We will take you on board right throughout the field. We've got all sorts of angles covered for you. It's going to be a super year. Luke King, he was a bit of a star in the Toyota 86 series when our former champion in 2019, the first guy to win it here in Australia, Will Brown, was in the mix in that class. Watch Luke King. He was only a 10th off the pace of Chaz Mostert yesterday.
He was great. Jordan Cox is in this year's mix. Michael Caruso makes a debut for Valvoline GRM Racing. Jay Hansen, we just saw out a few moments ago in the Hyundai XLs. Lee Holdsworth's in the field this year. Nathan Morecambe, the final race winner of the 2019 series. Michael Clementi is there. Jason Bargwanna. Aaron Cameron, he was a race winner in 2019. And John Martin, part of the 2-car Honda Civic team. Chaz Mostert is also here for at least this round. We're expecting to see Mostert maybe in some more rounds as the year goes on. And Josh Buckham debuting in the HMO Customer Racing team.
I know people in motor racing often use that term dark horse. There's lots of them in this field. Aaron Cameron is one of them. He was a genuine emerging star in that VW Golf back in 2019. Now he's in French machinery for the 2021 season in a Peugeot.
Absolutely. Yesterday we had 2 practice sessions dominated by Alfa Romeo. It was Lee Holdsworth, Jordan Cox, Jay Hansen and Michael Caruso that were the quickest at the end of the 2 sessions from the overall. Brad Shills was impressive yesterday in the Hyundai i30. Nathan Morecambe, Chaz Mostert, Josh Buchan, Luke King and Jason Bargwanna amongst the top 10 yesterday from practice. But that was 24 hours ago. So it continues to darken up a bit here at Symmons Plains. We're looking at a temperature of 34, which is mighty hot to come down here for. But at the moment, it's much cooler out there, just a whisker under 30 degrees as the Burson Garage team work on Ben Bargwanna's car. We start the first cycle of flying laps. Gee, it's good to be back. I'm not going to sound like a broken record there this weekend. It's so good to be back at a racetrack, Rusty.
My eyes have to do a little adjustment when we go to the Bargwana garage because Jason is in the 17. Ben, who you saw there a moment ago, is in the 71. So we'll try and not make a meal of that when we're commentating. Awesome to have this guy join us for race 1. As he detailed earlier in our coverage today, very different race machine. He's down at turn 4 here now. Slowest point on the circuit at Symmons Plains. Then they work their way up through the sequential shift gearbox to 230 kilometres an hour through this fast right sweeper. Symmons Plains, classic Australian racetrack that offers so much. And for the fans here at the track that have come, they can see absolutely everything.
Absolutely. Oh, and he comes in. Now, that's a headwind coming into turn number 6. It's a tailwind going down to turn number 4. The wind has dropped off a bit. That was purely Boston coming in hot into turn number 6. He'll post the first time, though, 58.0 aboard his Melbourne Performance Centre Bostik Audi. Moffat comes down to complete his first lap. And a lot of time still to play out when you're looking at lap times, sub 60 seconds. So across the line comes Hansen up into 6th position. The teenager who was sent to debut in season 2020 and now gets his shot in Super Cheap Auto TCR competition in season 2021.
Look at the Hyundais dancing, all 3 of them. I mean, there's so many stories in this lineup. I mean, this is the champion team, HMO Customer Racing, from our 2019 season. We had a little bit of action at the Australian Grand Prix, obviously, in Thursday practice there in 2020. We're so delighted to be going racing. That's a very good outfit with a couple of youngsters who will be talking points as we continue the season.
Absolutely. Here's James Moffat, new livery for his Renault Megane in season 2021, being shadowed by his teammate Dylan O'Keefe, who's 4th at the moment. Moff sits in 2nd, headed by Aaron Cameron, straight into the 56 range. In this part 1 of qualifying, as the cars start the cycle of hot laps, let's go back to pit lane with Molly.
Hi guys, I'm here at the Burson Auto Parts garage with the Bargwana. As you can see, there's a lot of action happening behind me. Essentially what these guys have chosen to do is to front to rear really early on. So we know that in this front wheel drive cars, it's hard to get the temp into the rear tyres. So what they've done is gone out, done a quick lap, get some temp into the front tyres, put them on the back, put the rears on the front, and then they can go out and hopefully get the tyres up to temp earlier to get a good lap time. So we'll see if any of the other guys do it, but so far everyone else has just decided to stay out and circulate to get the heat up that way. 2 different strategies, and we tried them both, so we'll see which one works today.
Molly Taylor, we know you're an Australian rally champion, but you did compete in TCR in a Subaru in the 2019 season. Are you missing it? You okay?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of an itchy feet. I won't lie, but I think the nerves are still just as high from standing here with the microphone. Tell you what.
Don't you worry. Nolts and I could pick up on it straight away. We could tell from your voice. Good stuff.
Great to have her in pit lane, along with our cast for this year's Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series. Just under 10 minutes to go in this session. Great point she raced, because that's something we learned at Phillip Island in the first year, was we saw so many cars go off on their first lap in qualifying. Came down to the front tyres, got been up to 10, so a rotation of the tyres made all the difference, and lucky most of the teams are keeping that in mind in season 2021.
Now, from the timesheets yesterday, it looked like it was a bit of a struggle for the Honda camp, I should say. They have taken a bit of a long-term view of this. They are looking at good race cars, Matt, for the entire weekend. Not necessarily good qualifiers. It did look like the Alfa Romeo was the car to be in here, but remember, we go to all sorts of different venues. The great thing about TCR as a global formula is that it has a balance of performance measures to get some real equality. Alfa might be great here, but maybe it'll do it a little bit tougher at Phillip Island and so on.
Exactly right. This is a faster track. In fact, hearing reports yesterday that the straight line speed between the Honda and the Alfa was some 12 k's an hour.
Wow.
And that's big when it comes to a track like this. Maybe not so at a track like Winton, for example. It's a lot more stop and start. Here you need speed and power.
And they get good speed going down to turn 4. Slowest point on the track is 55 k's an hour. You are watching Aaron Cameron, Valvoline, livered Peugeot for him. And while we're talking about Peugeots, incidentally, in 2019, when the cars made their Australian debut at the Tailem Bend round of the championship, very French-orientated crew brought the car out to show the Aussie camp what they were like to run. Ben Bargwana was working with the crew that weekend. He said, "Oh, mate, it did my head in," because they were working in different ways to what he was used to here in Australia when it came to PSI, for example, for tyres and so on. He said it was a real, just the the difference in dealing with another language was a challenge in itself.
That was a tough weekend, wasn't it? Aurelian Compte drove the car that weekend and barely got any laps in practice and qualified. Missed the first race while they
Great little car.
shipped out that wiring loom. Remember to put that in. They tested Sunday morning. They got 2 laps to go out and make sure those little green gremlins weren't inside the car, and he went on to have an okay day there in that Peugeot. Who's Luke King? The Maltai entry, car number 2. Heading down the back straight and quickest overall now, 56.04. There's only 1600ths of a second covering the first 2 cars right now. King, Mostert, Hansen and Moffat the top 4 with Holdsworth, who was impressive at both practice sessions yesterday. He's on a good lap now. Aaron Cameron, Buchan in 7th, Caruso 8th, Morecambe and O'Keefe 9th and 10th.
If you've just joined our live coverage here on the channels of 7 or on Sky Sports in New Zealand, kia ora to everyone watching over there in NZ or on Motorsport TV internationally, this is qualifying 1 for the TCR series, our first qualifying session of 2021. Luke King, who you're watching on screen, is currently 3rd because Lee Holdsworth, the Friday fast man, has now moved to the top of the order from Hansen. It's a 55.87 that is the marker to beat.
All those guys have done 7 laps in this session. Nathan Morecambe completes a lap there, but 10th position only for the Rondo HMO Customer Racing team. Teammate to Will Brown in the first year, went on to win the series. John Martin back in the pits and has only done 5 laps in the session. O'Keefe gets pushed back into the fast lane. The low bank, Renault Megane.
Represented Australia on the international stage of TCR last year, did some testing in Austria as well, is now familiar with the Renault equipment.
Absolutely. And how will they go in race number 1 later on today? Remember, you need to get inside that top 10 for part 2 of qualifying. Remaining roughly, Michael Clementi on the track now in the Worth, number 15.
A couple of youngsters that are privateers, so this particular car and the one in the hands of Zach Souter have some good heritage from the operation run by David Will, but they are privateers running their own sort of family-backed setup, shall we say, and Souter's story is a really good one. He's actually in the car that Tony D'Alberto used to claim the first ever pole in our series back in 2019 at Sydney Motorsport Park.
And the car that Nestor Girolami dominated with at Sandown, the Argentinian driver that came out at Sandown. He topped every session. That hasn't been done since. Practice, qualifying in all 3 races. Took home the box set that day at Sandown and Victoria. Jason Bargwanna comes around to complete a lap 16th, but expect that to change aboard his Burson entry. Goes up into 12th place now, but still needs to find 2 or 3 spots if he wants to go on to part 2. You're in car with Chaz Mostert right now. 4th position, his best lap of the session there, 55.9.
Letting you soak up the sounds of TCR. Lights ablaze for Chaz Mostert. They work their way 230 k's an hour and then hard on the brakes here. Turn 6 down to 100 kilometres now. Look at that lift, that left rear lift. Not ideal. He was on for a good lap, but that was awkward through there, wasn't it? A little awkward. Saves it though and keeps it on the black stuff.
Let's see what it nets him. He had the fastest first sector of the session and 56.5. Cost him about 4 tenths, maybe 6 tenths at the end of the lap. So Holdsworth still sits at the top at the moment. Caruso sits on the bubble in 10th position. So outside looking into the names like Dylan O'Keefe, Tony D'Alberto, John Martin also outside the top 10 with just under 4 minutes to go.
I'll tell you who's on the bubble here. Arguably the most experienced campaigner in the Hyundais. That's Nathan Morecambe. He's 11th. He's outside the top 10 right now. He knows what it takes to get those cars on the podium to win. He's got all that experience from 2019. Can he find a little something to sneak inside Q2? Lee Holdsworth bolting together another very good lap by the looks of it. He's the fast man. Here's Tony D'Alberto. New look with that blue front end on the Honda this year.
It's his best 3rd sector, but stays in 16th position. A revised livery for the Wall Racing prepared Honda Civic. That's Aaron Cameron, and he's gone a long way down the track, and that's in fact at turn 4. And that's the longest I've seen a car go off there ever.
Whoa. I'm trying to compute, I'm sorry, I'm trying to compute that, how he went so far up there. Back with D'Alberto now.
coming up towards turn number 6. Ben Barguana, the only car in the pits with 3 minutes. So here's a replay, heading down to turn number 4 and skates off the track, but just dances over the gravel trap and heads towards a great presence of mind and turn the car at the last second. I think they might be wondering about opening that gate up maybe later on, and often is here at Symmons Plains just in case a car does go further on. Cameron rejoins, but he's in 8th position. Caruso still sits in 10th position as we're into the final 2.5 minutes of qualifying for the Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series. Brand new season here in 2021.
A couple of other stories that are inside the top 10 on debut so far. Josh Buchan, what about that? Position 5 right now. Brilliant performance by him. He's, in more recent time, had a driver training background, shall we say. Good connection with Hyundai. This is terrific for him, and it's only a deal that's come together in relatively recent time.
Absolutely it is, and he's really excited about being behind the wheel in the car that Will Brown drove to the series crown. Got to say, Luke King, this is an impressive debut. We know the guy's mega talented, and the good people from Maltai have got on board to back his campaign in season 2021. You're in car with D'Alberto as he fights the Honda Civic through the roller coaster that is turns 1, 2 and 3 around this 7-turn Symmons Plains Raceway. 90 seconds remaining. Who's going to move up? Who's going to be bumped from the top 10?
Personal best for Tony D'Alberto in Sector 1. He's a guy that in recent years, as many of you that follow your motorsport would know, has paired with Fabian Coulthard at what was DJR Team Penske. And he knows these Hondas incredibly well, but at the moment he's languishing by Tony's standards, down in 15th. Here's his teammate, John Martin. It's staggering to think that John is in P18 right now, and very likely with a minute to go of missing the cut.
It's his best lap, but it's still a 56.9. He's 1.1 seconds off the pace of the guys ahead. Caruso now on fire here in 10th position, fastest first sector and personal best second sector. We watch Brad Shields in the 333. He's 9th. To the finish line he comes and stays there with a 56.4, 2 tenths away from his best time.
Dylan O'Keefe thought he might be in the top 10, currently position 13. The Picture Partners entry, that's Jordan Cox on the outside of John Martin. They're drag racing down to the fastest part of the circuit in these front drive cars, 230 k's an hour. The Alpha has the upper hand.
You can see the difference, can't you, between the two cars? So Martin will tuck in behind Jordan Cox here with 20 seconds to go. Top 4 in the pits. Caruso in 8th position now puts Brad Shields on the bump in 10th. D'Alberto just outside by 0.09 of a second trying to get in. O'Keefe sets his best lap, but it's still only 12th. Checkered flag now waves to end part 1 of qualifying.
Tony D'Alberto on the outside of the bubble. That's it. Game over for the Honda driver. That's actually a pretty, knowing how they've been fighting with those cars, for him to get to 11th is a very good job. As I said, they are going to play a long game, I think, at Honda. And look at them being really strong race cars. Watch for Michael Caruso. Good first sector. He sits position 9. In fact, it's the fastest first sector we've seen. For the completion of the lap, he stays 9th. Shields currently in.
And Aaron Cameron found 4 spots to go up into 5th with that lap. O'Keefe's on a good lap. His second sector, not that great. In fact, he finishes the lap now and stays in 13th. So, Rusty, some big names outside that top 10. O'Keefe, Morecambe, John Martin, 18th. D'Alberto walks back in. David Wall on the right-hand side. And that's the end of the session. Not the day they planned. 11th position and 0.09 of a second from making it into part 2 of qualifying.
And can we just offer the contrast here, Matt, knowing the experience of Tony D'Alberto and that he's just missed out on the 10. By contrast, Jay Hansen in the Alfa Romeo for Ash Seawood Motorsports, second fastest. That's a brilliant drive.
But at the moment, Holdsworth, Hansen, man, what an impressive run for the teenagers. Straight out of the XL and into TCR. Luke King, 3rd. Mostert, 4th on his debut. Aaron Cameron, the big mover at the end of part 1 of qualifying. Buchan in 6th position ahead of Jordan Cox, James Moffat, Caruso and Brad Shields. Finish of part number 1, finished in 10th, and D'Alberto, Ben Barguana, O'Keefe, Morecambe, Michael Clementi 15th, Jason Barguana in 16th, Zach Sutar in 17th, and John Martin 1.1 seconds away from the top guys at the end of part 1 of qualifying.
Now, a story that will follow for you in the lane is James Moffat. The car appears to have stopped with no explanation, but he did make the top 10. So we'll keep an eye on that. No spark by the sound of it in that car. Let's go to Molly.
Mate, Tony D'Alberto You look like you're working hard for it out there. So close. Talk us through that quali session for you.
I'm actually fairly happy with that, to be honest. We've proven this weekend we don't quite have the package to mix it at the front, so a good day for us today was going to be in the 10, and we almost got there. So as you can see, I'm sweating and out of breath a little bit. Gave it everything I had. Yeah, well, that's all you can do, and you know you guys have a great race car. There's, you know, no one that's more experienced than you in the field. So we're looking forward to a good race coming up this afternoon. Yeah, hopefully so, and my fingers are crossed for a little bit of rain later on. All right, we'll do a rain dance here in the pits. Thank you. Thanks, Ollie. We'll see John Martin still in the car. We'll see if we can grab John if he jumps out, but it looks like he's still in the car. I think he's doing his debrief inside the car first, and then we'll see if we can grab him when he jumps out.
So a little bit of a reset, thank you, Molly, for the drivers here before the 10. We'll fight it out for the Astron Tech pole position. We've got the lane covered for you with Chris Stubbs, Jess Dane and Brad Hodge, in addition to Molly Taylor, who we heard from there a moment ago. This is going to be really good here, Matt. Let's go back to the lane a little bit more. Here's Chris.
James Moffat, 8th there in that session. Tell us what happened at the end, pushed in?
Yeah, so that was a really big improvement for us from practice from where we were. So we're just pretty excited to make the top 10 actually after what was looking like going to be a tough weekend. So, but yeah, unfortunately just lost all power there. Luckily, it was at the second last corner and I was able to roll to pit entry, but with the tight turnaround to Q2 now, we're just trying to diagnose the problem, hopefully get back out there.
Good luck, mate.
A couple of interesting little electrical things for the teams to deal with in the wake of practice yesterday. I think it was Ben Barguana or Jason that said to me they had a steering issue yesterday. Needed to do the alt control delete. Qualifying highlights for you. The very first qualifying session of the year for the Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series here in Tasmania at Symmons Plains. Chaz Mostert, the 2014 Bathurst winner. So good to see him at the wheel of one of these cars, and didn't he make it dance?
Look the way he exactly danced, took the words right out of my mouth down into turn number 1. Lee Holdsworth, who dominated the timesheets in practice yesterday, got his way back up to the top towards the back end of the session in the Alfa Romeo Giulietto Veloci, car number 10. Hansen, who finished in second spot here, but this one for Aaron Cameron that left us speechless here, going down the escape road and out towards the back fence there where the gate is closed, taking his Valvoline car back to 5th position at the end of part 1 of qualifying. As we're about to reset for another 10 minutes to set the first 5 rows of the grid here, and 2 points towards your 2021 Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia Series point score. Let's go back to the lane.
Nathan, not the position that you're used to being in or where you want to be on the grid after that quali. Tough session. You know you've got a good race car though. How did the car feel?
Oh, the car, we threw spanners at the work, tried to get it to be more up the pointy end. Obviously back swung on us and it's not ideally where we'd like to be. But definitely know we got a good race car, so we'll put it back to the race package and fight our way through this afternoon and be up there hopefully in the top 5 by the end of the race.
We hope to see you up there. And we'll just also mention, obviously, you're wearing the face mask because you've come from one of the zones in New South Wales. So great that you could make it here after all the uncertainty.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a bit of a headache getting here, but it's good to get here and finally get back up and running with this TCR, with the group, and definitely out on Channel 7. It's unbelievable. It's good.
Yeah, we're excited to be here and can't wait to watch your race this afternoon.
Sweet. Looking forward to it.
He's been very busy in the 2020 period with new digs, new facilities for HMO customer racing, and a very good name from NASCAR has come to join that outfit in Rob Benson.
And it's great to see some familiar names joining the series this year. Nice to see him keep the Australian theme, considering it's Australia Day weekend. On a Monday, here at Symmons Plains, a nice crowd that's turned us into a 4-day weekend. Spread all around this very fast, very historical Tasmanian venue. Josh Buchan comes onto the circuit, so fastest 10 from qualifying 1 now progress into this part for 10 minutes, a shorter session, but with those sub 60-second laps, lots of time to get a qualifying time in the books here. Mostert and Buchan heading down towards turn number 4 here. Luke King, who was great in that first part, and not really surprising, Rusty, with the years of experience. Great to have him in the field in season 2021.
Let's hope that you know, Chaz is clearly enjoying himself here. Great synergy and partnership with Bostic here. He's going to do some GT racing as well. He just loves being behind the wheel of cars, doesn't he?
Yeah, remember last year he went across to the Daytona 24-hour race as well, was scheduled to have a test run the TCR car, and it all just come together in the last few weeks. He did have a run briefly with the HMO customer team. Brad Shields comes out. Another surprise packet in the first session. Lots of GT experience as well for this guy from Bathurst, who we'll head up to for the third round this year. So much to look forward to this year, isn't it? We're going to go some very cool tracks in the series. And we start here in Tasmania as part of Boost Mobile Race Tasmania. 7.5 minutes to go. King comes down to the circuit. We've still got a handful of cars in the pits. Who is going to claim Astron Tech pole position?
Here's the picture partners entry. Jordan Cox. He front drive machinery. This is home turf for this guy. When you talk about grassroots motorsport that he's come through, it's awesome to think that this class of racing can give an opportunity to someone like him, for us to be able to showcase his talent. And he's got some real talent. We saw Luke King there a moment ago. Here's Shields that we talked about, mid-20s from Bathurst in a Hyundai this year. Great outfit for him to be joining. They do actually have, I think, Barry Morgan was saying they've got 4 cars in that stable. Right now they're just going to run 3 and they can do that comfortably, can't they?
Absolutely. How much has GRM put into both sides, both this and S5000 category, which we saw qualifying just before their first heat race coming up later today at Symmons Plains. So Buchan sets the first time, albeit 2 seconds away from the times we saw in part 1 of qualifying. 58.05 is the time they'll do the chasing with 6.5 minutes to go. We've also got Jay Hansen, Caruso and Cameron out there. Holdsworth now sets a 57.07. With 8 cars less, the track has a lot more space. Everybody can stretch their legs and breathe in some fresh Tasmanian air as this TCR cars.
Heard from an old colleague in the karting circles in Jason Varley earlier today, and he was talking about Josh Buchan, and he said, you watch this guy go. You look at the talent that he's got, and in every aspect, Matt, not just from the speed we're seeing here in qualifying at the moment, but his data analysis, his mechanical sympathy or respect. Brad Shields showing the kind of emerging talent that TCR has become renowned for. And look, we're only at round 1 of the season. To think guys like Brad are in the top 4. Luke King now goes to the top of the order. We're about halfway through this final qualifying session. Who is going to get the Astron Tech money? Who is going to get the Astron Tech pole position? Our first of the season. Luke King's professionalism, we know he's a good driver, but his professionalism leading into this has been second to none. From all the information he's been pumping out to fans, to us here in commentary and so on, he's just been eating, sleeping, breathing motor racing, even though we've had that COVID period.
Absolutely, and he's brought some really good names along with him too. Fast Track Communications and his long-time personal backer have joined him in the TCR competition. Let's go back to the pits.
Michael Clemente, big step up for you. The excels into the TCR category and back out there in an intense qualifying session. Super short amount of time, super close. How did that go for you?
Oh, it was bloody awesome. I loved every minute of it. We made a few changes overnight. We knew we had a bit of a struggle to move up in the field, and it paid off. I think we were 12th at one stage, and then I had a bit of a moment, and I come in and I thought I'd be able to go back out, but we ran out of time, so we ended up 15, which is not bad. Good for our first qualifying. The Hondas aren't doing the best here with the BOP. So we made the best of what we had, and I think it was really good fun, and now I'm keen for the race.
Yeah, you must be looking forward to getting out in the race, and obviously, as you say, you know you have a good car. How is the car feeling? Are there any more tweaks that you're going to make after quali, or you're set to go?
It's fairly good. The engineer's done a great job. The car's on rails, so I think we'll tweak it up just a little bit, and we'll head out there. Hopefully we get a good start and just play it safe and see what happens. So I think it's going to be a good one. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully there's not too much carnage and it stays all right.
Well, best of luck. Have a good one.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Well, Dylan O'Keefe, one of the big names to miss out from this session. Tell us 4 race wins in 2019. What went wrong there in that one?
Yeah, a bit strange. I don't know. Like going off yesterday, we thought we'd pick up a lot of speed going into today, but it was the opposite. I'm not quite sure. The car didn't feel too bad, but we had an alarm on the dash the whole time, which might have been playing with me mentally, but the car didn't seem too bad. Yeah, the headwind into there was a bit tricky, and yeah, I think I was probably down a little bit on engine, but it'll be interesting to look at the data at the end of this, but a shame not to be in Q2.
Mate, good luck.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
Just while we were listening to the interview there, Aaron Cameron made us draw breath, left us speechless again, because he's gone off at turn 4 for the second time. Remember, the approach is 220 k's an hour, then they go down to 55 k's an hour. But this is what happens.
Right front locked up. Of course, he's just had to get out of it. Remember, they've only got 10 tyres at their disposal this weekend, 10 Michelin tyres, of which 8 are brand new, and he's decided to almost follow the wheel tracks of what he did in the first session. Some campers up there might be moving those camper vans back about another 10 metres before the first race, as Mostert goes to the top, 55.7. Holdsworth is about to respond in the Alfa Romeo. 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go. Luke King third. Hansen on a good lap. It goes 56.1, displaced by Jordan Cox now.
Wheel work, footwork of Michael Caruso. Enjoy this. He's gone personal best, first and second sector. Oh, and loose there. That's blown the lap. That's blown. What a shame. He was in position number 8 and looking like moving up the order significantly. Caruso will stay, in fact, 9th now. He's got another shot at it. 2 minutes remain. It's Holdsworth, top of the pops. The Friday fast man with a 55.54 from Chaz Mostert and Luke King. The Audis are fast.
That would have been on target for third position too for Caruso. So he'll have to regroup. Here's Jordan Cox, 55.9, fifth position for him. Holdsworth set the fastest first sector of the day, 55.54. And Hansen, third position now, the teenager.
That's mighty.
Really taking it to some of the experienced guys. Look at the names around him. Holdsworth, Mostert, Luke King's highly experienced as well. And the teenager says, so?
G'day, Jay Hansen, nice to meet you.
Wow.
I love it.
What's Josh Buchan got for us? Car 30, the HMO customer racing team. Aaron Cameron, 56.1 on that last lap, stays in 6th position, hoping just for a clean lap in his Valvoline entry.
Minute to go now. Astron Tech pole position. Provisionally, Lee Holdsworth has it for the first of our races, the first of 3 for the weekend here at Boost Mobile Race Tasmania. Coming up a little later this afternoon in our coverage. Can Jordan Cox, maybe even Hansen, have a shot at knocking Holdsworth from the top? We know it's been a year of change, a little bit of tough news for Lee Holdsworth. We love seeing him in the Tickford Racing Mustang in recent time, but this is kind of, you know, it hasn't panned there, obviously, with the, you know, the reduction in cars that they're going to run. This is great for him to be a part of this this series. We're loving having him here too.
They all find a home, don't they, eventually? Yep. So last 20 seconds, back in car with Caruso. We can see out the windscreen, down towards turn number 7. There's cars, about 3 cars ahead of him. He locks up again, drags the left rear in as Hansen stays in 3rd position. Will he get to the line? Caruso, that is, to start another lap. Comes towards us, he will, with about 4 seconds to go. Best lap for him of the session.
Hansen stays 3rd. It was a very good middle and final sector, but he stays 3rd. Checkered flag waving here on this qualifying session. Lee Holdsworth looks like he's done it. Jordan Cox to position 2. So Mostert from 4.
We got another 7 cars through to start a lap at least. So Holdsworth, Cox and Moffat have all finished their session. We stay in car with Caruso. His best sector, first sector of the session so far. 19.1 is around Lee Holdsworth's time. So we might see the Caruso car move up maybe a spot or 2.
Last roll of the dice. Can Michael do it? Tidier, that left rear kicks up. That's the kind of body language you see in TCR. It happens with these front drive machines. Works toward the finish line now. What does Caruso do? Stays P5. He's off the 3rd row for our first race of the season.
Second sector is what took it for him there. Lost 3/10 alone. And Lee Holdsworth looks safe here for Astron Tech pole position. We've only had 8 rounds. This is the 8th round, and this is the 7th different driver to score a pole, and the 3rd tightest margin, 1st to 2nd. What a season this is going to forecast right now. Holdsworth and Cox will lock out the front row for race number 1 of Super Cheap Auto TCR Australia here in Symmons Plains.
And congratulations to Jay Hansen in the top 3, ahead of Chaz Mostert. This is one of those moments where they play for keeps in this game, some experienced competitors, and when a youngster can make a statement like that, that's huge.
Incredible. What a session. I do like this split session. And that's got a big tick from us.
Great job by Lee Holdsworth.
And instantly impressive yesterday. Unsurprisingly, after all the years of experience, Ian Cox will share the front row. Jay Hansen will start from 3.
Graphic, isn't it?
Incredible. Mostert from 4. Caruso 5th. Luke King, Aaron Cameron, Brad Shills, Josh Buchan and James Moffat are your first 5 rows for race number 1 of the 2021 season.
Looking forward to hearing from a very happy pole sitter. Sent a couple of messages last night in the wake of being quick in practice, and he'll be delighted with that. Michael Caruso returns to pit lane. He'll be a force out of that 3rd row. And remember, as we've seen before, if you're new to TCR in the 2019 season, there were guys like Aaron Cameron and others that were dynamite on cold tyres in the early laps. You can make big gains in the early phase of these races.
You just got to be confident.
You do.
You? Fans looking on here.
Brave.
What a day to be back at the track. You know, just like everywhere around Australia, Tasmanians have been starved of things to do, and they've come out in their droves here. We are at limited capacity here, and I'm hearing it's close to being at its maximum for tomorrow. And they're out here supporting Boost Mobile Race Tasmania. Let's head down to pit lane with Chris Stubbs.
Lee Holdsworth, congratulations. Welcome to the world of TCR Australia Racing. You are our first pole sitter for this year. How good is that?
Yeah, it's not a bad way to start the year after the last couple of months. So I'm stoked. The Ash Seawood motor racing team did a great job. P1, P3 for the team is just brilliant. And yeah, got to say thanks to all my sponsors, especially Betty Clemenco for coming on. Without her, this wouldn't have been possible. So good way to start the weekend.
I don't know if you've seen the timesheets yet, but it was tight. There's plenty of opposition out there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a strong class in this field, and just getting stronger and stronger, and that was what was, drew me to this class. So I'm pretty happy to be ahead of some of those names down there, and yeah, it's going to be a wild race.
How have you managed to sit into the car and the fitting? Is it all right?
Yeah, well, it's sort of my size, this car, so I fit in pretty comfortably. No, it was really tough to get my head around it initially, and it's just you're reprogramming your brain the whole time, and now I'm quite comfortable in it, so it feels like a go-kart. You can throw it around. Once you got confidence in it, you can push as hard as you can.
Mate, with great pleasure, $1,000 for you. There you go. The cheque is bigger than you as well from Astron Tech. Well done.
Thanks, mate. I need that.
You're harsh, Stubbsy. Fantastic. There was a real tussle there for the boys in TCR. Great contest, and well done to Lee Holdsworth. He's been quick since he arrived here, which is fantastic. All right, coming up, we love them, the Trans Ams, the Super Hulks. Let's do it right after the break.